of Minnesota fans were kind of pounding their chest on X, talking all kinds of crazy things. One of the things that I came across was a post mentioning how JJ McCarthy is better than Michael Penix Jr. Jeff, I know you have thoughts about JJ McCarthy. What do you think about that?
JJ McCarthy is absolute fucking trash. I'm sorry, but like I don't like what do you want me to say? You can't be shocked by that. Look, people who know me, like people who actually know me, one, they know two things. One, they know I'm a big Clemson guy, right? But people who know me know that I grew up a big Michigan fan. Like I wore the maize and blue almost my entire life. I mean, there are pictures out there of me as a teenager. Like every day I had a different Michigan shirt, hat. Like I was go blue all the time, right? So I still watch Michigan football. I'm still a Michigan fan, but if they line up against Clemson, it's just or play them in basketball, which they've done numerous times over the last 20 years. Like I'm a Tiger, and obviously I have one of my degrees is from Clemson, so there's no debating there. But if you go back to the national title, just go back to the national title game, right? A game that, yes, I think Penix threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He got hurt, still finished the game. He still outplayed JJ McCarthy. Like it's not even debatable who the best quarterback on that field was. And I don't know, the great quarterback run of 2024 is the only fucking reason he was a first round pick. I mean, you go back and you look at the first round picks of 2024, and you're just like, what? How? Like that's the question you ask, is how and why were some of these guys taken in the first round? Even for me, I get it. Caleb Williams was the guy. He's still garbage. I'm just never going to be a fan of Caleb Williams. I just don't see how he just doesn't have it. You know, people forget Jaden Daniels was an outcast at Arizona State and had to find some weird luck at LSU, which is fine. Drake May was always the guy, going into North Carolina with a 5-star. Like you can go back and talk about why those guys were. But then you get into the latter half of the first round. J.J. McCarthy in the first round. Fuck out of here. Bo Nix. People in the South know all about Bo Nix and how trash he was at Auburn. All of a sudden he goes to fucking Oregon, spends years 6, 7, and 8 in college football, comes out as a first-round pick. You're looking at those guys, and you're amazed that those guys were taken in the first round. J.J. McCarthy is a 6th-round pick at best. At best. And these motherfuckers want to act like he deserves to breathe the same air as Michael Penix Jr. Like, stop it. There's nothing about J.J. McCarthy, from the way he spells his name to how he ties his shoes, that says he's better than Michael Penix. And for anybody in brain-frozen Minneapolis, Minnesota, to come out and say that he's the better quarterback between the two is just absolute fucking nonsense.
I knew you were going to love this topic as I was teeing this up. Jeff, 610 games since J.J. McCarthy took a meaningful snap in a football game. And that last game was against Michael Penix in the College Football National Championship. It's funny how they're going to go up against each other in week 2, and we'll see who looks better there. But just, warning, Penix is going to go up against Beeflo, who's a very aggressive defensive coordinator. He's going to be on the road for the Minnesota home opener. So if he outshines J.J. McCarthy in those circumstances, you have all you need to know. But to Jeff's point, in college, right? Like maybe he's going to translate and butt into something. Maybe KOC is just this crazy QB whisperer. But in college, Jeff, last 6 games, including the college football playoffs, he was averaging 21 attempts, 143 passing yards, and less than 1 touchdown per game. That doesn't scream 10th overall pick in an NFL draft to me.
No, it screams 10th overall pick in the CFL. And yet here he is in the first fucking round of the NFL draft. Like, I'm sorry, but if you actually watch J.J. McCarthy's college career, this dude had Canadian football player written all over him. There was nothing about his game that you go, damn, that dude's a first-round pick. Like, at one point, people were wondering if he had, like, naked pictures of Harbaugh somewhere. Was he fucking Jim Harbaugh's wife? You know what I mean? Like, John, Jim, whoever it was, right? I think it was Jim.
Jim.
Yeah, he just wasn't good in college. And then as you're teeing up for the NFL draft, and all of a sudden you're hearing that he's potentially sliding into the first round, you're like, am I watching the NFL draft or the CFL draft? Like, it just, none of it made any sense. And I can't wait, because I've learned to hate Minnesota fans. I can't wait for them to get a hold of this dude and see how bad he fucking is this year. And just the collective noise the state of Minnesota will make about halfway through November, when they realize that they've got this shit quarterback on their hands for the next 5 years. It'll be absolutely glorious.
And by the way, I think that the GM and the head coach are kind of tied at the hip with JJ McCarthy. If he doesn't pan out, there's been a lot of first-round picks that they've had, including Dallas Turner, including a Georgia corner. I don't recall his name off the top. Lewis Seen, I think, that just haven't panned out for them. So I mean, you add JJ to that list. I don't know that Dallas is going to amount to anything. Like, all of a sudden, those drafts are not looking too hot. So we'll see what happens there. But it's wild to me that this is even a debate, Jeff, because even though JJ McCarthy looked pretty decent against Vegas's third stringers in a preseason game, Penix, for the 3 games that he played at the end of the season with barely any first team reps, like, he looked phenomenal to me. Like, he walked in Sunday Night Football and put on a show on the road against the NFC runner-ups. Like, that to me, like, just, you got me there, man. I was at that game, Jeff. I saw that happening live. Like, I saw the throws he was making. Like, it was just like, I have not seen a quarterback in this much control of our offense since Matt Ryan. Like, it was awesome. It was awesome to watch that.
No, and as we talked about last week, he's still a rookie. There's still a learning curve for him. There's still a lot he hasn't learned. There's still a lot that he's going to learn on the fly with NFL defensive coordinators who are the best of the best for a reason. And some of them may turn out to be really shitty head football coaches, but it doesn't mean that they weren't elite defensive coordinators. And there's a couple of those guys on that list this year. And they're going to make sure that this rookie sees some shit that he's never seen. And again, this is where we talked about last week. As much as we want to talk shit about how stupid Kirk Cousins looks, his presence in that locker room, his presence in that quarterback room are going to be paramount for a guy as young as Michael Penix Jr. and the development he's going to have and the success that he's going to have. And so, I think, would we like to see Penix play more last year? Of course we would have. Should he have played more last year? Of course he should have. And not because he earned it, but because of the whole injury thing. But there's a reason we should be excited. And, I love that Minnesota fans are like, oh, yeah, well, he threw 3 interceptions in 3 games. Right, Dick knows, but 2 of them were off his own players' hands. Right? Like, this isn't a guy who just blatantly misread coverages and threw it into quadruple coverage. This was a guy who hit his receivers in the hands and they couldn't catch the ball. And it dropped into a DB's fingertips. You know what I mean? So it's not like he was out here just throwing bum footballs. And so he showed a lot in those 3 games. He's already better than anybody the Panthers have. He's already better than anybody the Saints have. And, as we talked about, he will be the second best quarterback in this division. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. In that what's his name in Tampa is probably the best quarterback in this division. But Michael Penix Jr. is number 2, and within a year or 2, he may end up being number 1. And so I'm excited about him. I'm glad that the Falcons took him. I am so glad that people who wanted Dallas Turner didn't get their wish. And ultimately, I think things that will end up working out in the long run, regardless of all the bullshit from the last 14, 15, 16 months.
Yeah, I know everyone wanted Dallas in 2024. I know we wanted to make playoffs in 2024. I get it, but guys, we ended up with Jalen fucking Walker and James Pierce Jr. That is something to be really pumped up about, especially week 1, Jeff, with Tristan Wirfs now out, the left tackle for Tampa Bay. They're all-pro left tackle. Oh, man, I'm excited to see what our new defensive line and defense are going to do against that offense. So, and by the way, Tampa Bay having a first-time offensive coordinator who's never called plays at any level in the pro or collegiate level. Like that's going to be big. So we'll see. But the key risk factor there, again, Todd Bowles is a tough DC head coach to game plan for. Having Kirk Cousins is going to be vital. The week after, we're going to be on the road. Minnesota, Buffalo, another tough defensive coordinator. Kirk Cousins is going to be key for Michael Penix to understand how to prep for these types of coverages. So I hope that, Kirk's in the room for those 2 weeks. After that, we can go trade him. But those 2 weeks are going to be critical to have Kirk.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, there's a lot of reason to be excited. And so I really hope that people are excited about what is about to transpire here in Atlanta.
Now, here's another risk factor for the Falcons in 2025, in my opinion. Let's start talking about the offensive line.